How
Okay.
can I help you?
Oh, I was just curious about the program in general. I'm definitely interested in like floristry. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I just didn't know if this was the correct. It was a good program for that in general, just kind of the basis.
And actually, you picked a good time to ask. I wish I had one of my students here. He is actually going to. We participated in a forestry contest through
Oh, that's
FFA. We do a lot of FFA activities, contests. We study for those, and he's a senior. He's also interested in majoring, going on to college. He hasn't really finalized the decision where he's going to go, but he's going to major in environmental science and forestry. But we
right.
did. He participated in a state contest last year, and he thought he knew what he was doing. He ended up getting beat pretty bad,
Yeah.
and he ended up buckling down a little bit more, and he ended up getting 15th in the state this year.
Oh wow.
So that, yeah, so he was pretty happy about that. We were all happy. We do a lot of FFA things, but the answer to your question, he just got through doing a drawing. We study the plant itself, and they were doing some sketching, kind of participating in getting ready for some landscape designing and drawing part. So we had him design some trees, the inside of a tree, how a tree works, pruning. We get into that, and get back to some more of your question. I keep going around this a little bit, but uh, he actually did a job shadow. Your first year, you do a 4 hour job shadow.
Mhm.
And the good thing about our ag department, and I'm not trying to run down any other departments, but if you took other programs, what you take, that's what you're going to job shadow in.
Right.
Electricity, you're going to job shadow electricity. Heavy equipment, you're going, and so forth. Heavy collision, auto collision, you're going to job shadow that. But our job shadow your first year is 4 hours of non paid. But the thing about agriculture, you can go so many ways,
Right.
directions. And he chose last year, he wanted to do forestry. So we contacted the Clark County State Forestry, was able to get him there, and they took him out in the woods and, talk about marking trees and things. And that's not the first student we've had last year. I think 2 years ago, we had a girl graduate, and she went on to Vincennes, and she majored in forestry. So that's 2 years up there. Then she transferred to the University of Southern Illinois,
Mhm.
is where she's finishing up now. And she is majoring in, I think it's either forestry or environmental sciences. So I kind of led her in that direction. She was interested in that. But the guy, the senior this year, he did his job shadow state forestry. She did hers at the Crawford Harrison Forestry.
Mhm.
Then this year, as a second year senior, they had to do it at 15 hours. It's kind of like a job shadow, non paid. And he tried something different and says he didn't like it. He wants to go back to forestry. So for his internship, which is for the second semesters, that will be paid, and that will last 6 7 weeks.
Mhm.
But that's for second year seniors, and we're going to get him. I think we're going to try and get him back into the Clark County Forestry or an independent forestry consultant. So you might do a lot of horticulture things and landscaping, but we try and get you closer you get to graduation, the closer we get you to what you're interested in.
Mhm.
That's kind of the way we play that. And that's a good thing about agriculture in this department. You can go so many directions. I have graduates. I've had more graduates. What school do you go to now?
I go to Borden High School.
Borden?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where he's from. The guy I was talking about. You probably know him.
What's his name?
Ethan Parsons.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, ask him about it.
Oh,
Yet tell him he's the dumbest, I mean, the smartest guy I know.
yeah.
Now I
He's
like Ethan. He's very knowledgeable about that. I'm impressed with him. He'll go far with that. And that's the thing. I had to figure out what made him tick. What was his passion?
Mm.
And it kept going back to forestry. And that's where we're going to go with. But I don't think he's decided where he is wanting to attend college at. But he just has such a passion for it, and he's very knowledgeable of
Right.
things of the tree species.
Yeah, I think
So
like in between my kind of choices within the ag field is I definitely like forestry, what I said, and also like floristry, like with flowers and
yeah,
stuff. So
yeah,
it's definitely my biggest question was like you were explaining about the internships. He tried out something different and didn't like it. So I
right,
wouldn't be stuck in an internship or in something that I wouldn't like.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Not trying. You try to do something you think you like, then I kind of encourage something to try something different just out of the blue. And he went to a golf course. I guess he was just more labor. He didn't get into some other stuff, and and that's okay. But you got to tell me up front if you
Right.
like it or not. And we talked about it, so that's
Right.
where we want to go with it. Um, but yeah, he I think he'll do well. As a fact, I called the state forestry last week, and that guy put me in contact with these other consultants and gave us some advice and some phone numbers. So we start process elimination who we need to contact. But he
Right.
will probably end up, since that's a government job in the Clark Forestry, he'll we're gonna have to we're gonna have to work with that one because it is
Mhm.
a paid position. So I don't know how the government works with that.
Right.
Uh, but we're gonna get him back in that field somehow that he likes
Yeah.
to do. Yeah, we talked about him going up to the state nursery at Bologna. One, it was a far drive, and two, it's something really wasn't interested in.
Right.
It was out in the nursery digging up trees and things. Yeah, that's kind of interesting and stuff, but it wasn't his goal.
Hmm.
So, anyways, yeah, I wish Borden had an ag program up there, at least a couple classes,
Yeah.
introductory to ag, something, and just kind of feed them to us.
Right. Um,
That would be
Another
good.
question I kind of had was more of like towards whatever I decided ending doing, but like more with like flowers and floral
Mhm.
designs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Would you say landscaping is a good program for that as well?
We try and get into that as well. We've tried. I'm trying to work it into horticulture.
Mm-hmm.
We try and get you into horticulture first, which is called landscaping one now, and your second year is landscaping two. And we try and fit that in either one.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually in horticulture your first year
Right.
because again, there's an FFA uh, contest. It's actually called floriculture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then landscaping, there's a at the same. It used to be at the same school, the same day, same time, so you couldn't do both. So I'd
Right.
have a team for floriculture team, then I have a team for my landscaping. But it's
Right.
usually held at a high school. I don't know. They didn't have it last year. I don't know how they did it, but we were out of school, so that's a little hard. But what we've done in the past is we actually had some florists come in and help train
Mm-hmm.
a team because part of the contest is assembling a display, a floral display, and making a corsage or a boutonniere, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we try and tie some of that, a lot of it, with the FFA contest.
Right. And I mean, it's not like I would be wasting my time or anything. It's still sciences that I would end up needing.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah.
uh,
And we did a lot of demonstration speeches too. We went to University of Kentucky Ag Field Day.
mm-hmm.
Then we went to a Western Kentucky Ag Field Day, and there are different divisions. What we usually do is enter a what's called leadership contest. It's a demonstration speech, like 8 minutes, eight to
Yeah.
I think 8 to 10 minutes. If you go over that, you deduct your points. So again, you can practice that there at those ag field days before you went to the state.
Right.
So those contests I was talking about earlier is a floriculture and landscaping contest. It is actually what they call a state invitational. There's no qualifying rounds.
Mhm.
But we do that. You go to UK, you can do a demonstration speech there on floriculture and why, and, all the hows and whys you do things like that. You do the Western. Hopefully they'll have it this year. We really do well down there.
That's good.
Cleaned their house at Western last 2 years ago. First time we ever went. That was interesting.
Right.
But,
There's definitely a lot of opportunities that
yeah,
not that I see that other, like, it
yeah,
seems like there are a lot more opportunities to try things out than there are in different programs. So
there is. That's what I keep telling my classes. That you guys have more opportunity than you ever dreamed of.
Hmm.
I said, it's just all you got to do is kind of pick what you like to do, and we're going to start making some phone calls and see what you want to go with it. I mean, I've had students. One is majoring. Well, I told you about the girl in forestry, environmental sciences. Some of them changed their mind and went into landscape design. They were interested in floriculture, actually, and they were dead set on it. In fact, they did their job shadow there, an internship there at Grantline Nursery.
Hmm.
They loved it. They kind of loved it, but after that they kind of decide, we want to go into landscape design, architect. They kind of fell in love with that, so we went that direction. Um, so yeah, like you said, there's plenty of opportunity to do. You're not locked in to something,
Right.
and that's a good thing. In fact, I've got a girl that I got a couple people right now. Girls at Vincennes, they're doing their landscape design. They decided to go that route. Then I got a couple students at Murray State, and they went down there because it's cheaper. And one is going to be an ag teacher.
Yeah,
So
that's
she,
cool.
she decided to do that. And she is actually uh, taking a class in floriculture there. It's one of her electives.
Mhm.
They're pretty cool. The
Yeah.
things she will show. So there's a couple things, options for you to do.
So, how exactly do the internships and shadowing work? Is that just in the second year or?
The shadowing is your first year. That's
Okay.
only 4 hours. And your
Right.
second year uh, is your 15 hours. That's your first semester.
Hmm.
So let's say you didn't like what you did job shadow your first time. It's like, nah, I don't want to do that. We'll try something else for 15. So that's 1 week. You
Right.
don't even show up to class for 1 week. You'll go to Borden. Then no, you'll go to your how is this? So we can work around it somehow to where you can squeeze in your 15 hours.
Right.
Sometimes people do it on vacation. Sometimes we try and work it to where it's during school.
Yeah.
For your second year, that's for your 15 hours. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's how we do it. So your job shadow is kind of on your own. Your second year, you come back and do your what you call micro internship for 15. So you'll go to Borden, go straight to your job.
Mm.
So then the second semester, this semester, you will do your internship.
Right.
So it kind of goes in steps.
Right.
Job shadow first year, 4 hours. Your micro internship, 15 hours per week. That's on our time. So you don't get counted absent or anything. Then that leads into your internship, second semester. And that's for several weeks.
Mhm.
So that's how that works.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So what?
we're actually on a roll this year in the FFA contest. We got second in the state in horticulture. Then we do etymology, which is study of insects.
Yeah.
A lot of identification. Then they have to take a short quiz, and we got fifth in the state this year. So that's the best we've done. We got seventh before and 10th, but this year we got fifth in that one. So we're kind of on a roll.
That's
So
good.
hopefully we can do that floriculture and kind of see how it goes.
Right.
But
Um,
we've had people go to floriculture for their job shuttle
that's
right
good.
down the road from us, actually.
Yeah, the Grantline Nursery. I think that's what you said, right?
They do that for the nursery landscaping part.
Hmm.
They got two divisions over at Landscape Nursery, but for the floriculture, there's a shop down the road. It's called Abersold.
Yeah,
That's a big name. They
yeah.
always help us out a lot. Then we have the flower shop, which is down on Charlestown Road.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of flower shops to do.
That's good.
So
So what got you into teaching ag, or
that
what's
was
your experience?
well, I used to. I went to. Here's my background. You get to hear a lot of stories from me. My background is I went to Eastern.
Hmm.
Okay, right up the road from you. So as a student, so then I was pretty decent running. So I got me a scholarship down at University of Southern Indiana. So I went down there for a year, and I'm like, it's just not me. So we ended up doing an indoor track meet. So our team drove up for an indoor track meet at Purdue, and
Hmm.
I got to look at the campus, just riding around in the van. I'm like, I like this. This is what I want to do. And my background is a small farm,
Yeah.
and I kind of missed that when I went to University of Southern Indiana. So we went to Purdue, and I'm like, this is where I want to go. So next year I transferred and majored in ag economics.
Hmm.
So I asked my sister, she was a special ed teacher at
Hmm.
West Washington. I asked her how she liked it. And she goes, oh, a lot of paperwork. You got to go back to renew your license and go back to school. I'm like, I don't want that. That's out. Um, so I majored in ag economics. Think I'm going to be a big business guy. So I worked out in a couple factories here and there in the ag industry.
Hmm.
And this opportunity came up for me to coach back at Eastern. I worked down in Louisville,
Hmm.
but just so happens I was able to get off. So somebody asked me if I'd take his coaching job. I said, yeah, absolutely. He goes, you got experience? I'm like, yeah. So I ran there and I ran college. And so I got coaching. I really liked it, working with people, I liked it I liked it in college, and I would have done that, but they don't pay very good.
Yeah.
And I had bills to pay. They don't.
Right.
And I would have had to eat ketchup sandwiches just survive.
Right.
And so, but I like to coach. So I coached part time after I got off work. And another opportunity knocked and he says, hey, we have this position open up here at Eastern. It's from a grant. And you'll be working with some students. You can coach here as well. And you're working with the ag department. I'm like, hey, great. That's right down my alley.
Right.
And even though I majored in ag economics. And so I said, so this is a grant from the state. He goes, yeah. So when the grant runs out, I could be out of a job. And they go,
Right.
yeah. So I kind of threw the dice, took the chance, and I left what I was doing and came up here to Eastern. Did that for a couple years. Then they said, hey, we want to add a second ag teacher spot. I'm like, okay. He goes, we want you to take it because there was already an ag teacher.
Hmm.
And I said, that's great. I love to. But the problem is I didn't go to school for that. I don't have a license.
Right.
So there was a way around that to get my ag teaching certificate.
Hmm.
It's called, oh shoot, I forget what it's called. So I had to go back to class just a few nights a week, get my renewal so I could become a teacher.
Hmm.
So I taught up there at Eastern for a long time, for like 20 years, and coached track and cross country. So then, approximately 4.5 years ago, this guy down at Prosser decided he was going to retire. Well, he was down there like 35 years, 40. I mean, I think
Yeah.
he went to school. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, congratulations to him. And I deleted the message because he emailed everybody, hey, I'm retiring. See ya. Adios. So I deleted the email that everybody got. And it was probably right after school was in June. I get this phone call and say if you was interested in coming to Prosser. I said, I don't know. I'm 2 miles from Eastern. I'm like, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, I'll interview for it. What the heck? They called me. In fact, they called me. I got 3 phone calls, I think, trying to talk me to come down there.
Mm.
And because I did a lot of different things at Eastern, aquaculture, hydroponics, I mean, natural resources. We did hunter's education license. It's one of my favorite classes. Was natural resources. I mean, we did all kinds of things. Trappers education, you name it, we did. ATV safety day. Uh, but I had a conservation officer come in and speak, and come find out he started the criminal justice program down Prosser.
Mm-hmm.
So that's who put my name in the pot. They kept calling me, see if I'd come down. So I went and interviewed, and I pretty much had the job before I even interviewed, to tell you the truth.
Right.
It's just one of those things. And that's how I got into teaching. I got into teaching through coaching.
Yeah.
Much. I just liked it. And I ended up having to go back and get my master's, which is a pain, but
Yeah.
it increased my salary. And that's just kind of how it all fell together. And yeah, I like it. Here's what I told the girl down at Murray State, and she just had the personality to do it. She was always helping people in the class. Hey, let me help you. Let me do this. Here's how it's done. I said, you really need to think about this. She goes, what? I said, you need to think about being an ag teacher. She goes, I don't know. I said, you got that knack for it. I said, what else are you going to do? I said, nobody wants you. What else are you going to do? And I could always give you her name and phone number and stuff like that if you ever want to go that route. And
Mm-hmm.
she's the most pleasant person you ever want to talk to. And so, some people are cut out for it. I didn't think I was going to be a teacher.
Right.
And I tell all my students, I said, be careful what you say, because I know, because I always said I was not going to be a teacher. And look at me now.
Right.
So that's how I went that route. And, I'm telling another student, a girl right now, she likes horses. I said, she can draw. She can flat out draw. Some people just have that knack, artistic knack to do that.
Right.
And I never was. I said, if you like plants and you like to draw, why don't you put the two together and be a landscape designer? I said, you're not the first person to come through here and do this.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you've got the talent. Why not use it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the way we roll with it. But
Right.
that's how I ended up in where I am.
Right.
I was very shy in high school and college. And after graduating, I just kind of, I don't know,
Right.
just fell into it. But I like it because like we was talking about earlier, I can do so many things.
Right. That's what I think I like is I'm very like kind of weighing on me a lot is like what I want to end up doing career wise. And I feel like I'm almost indecisive. So I like the like kind of open ended part of not being stuck in one spot.
And that's why I like about it, because I can teach. I don't know. Today we've been talking about plant biology, a chapter, and at the same time we're going to have to start some bedding plants in about 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be doing that at the same time, doing some chapter in landscaping class. I started a new section this year for the very first time with sports turf management. The guys who groom these NFL football fields and Major League Baseball fields and soccer fields. We started taking over the soccer field and the softball field right next to campus. So we got 4 zero turns. 3 of them's brand spanking new.
Yeah.
So we started doing a segment on sports turf. I mean, I can go all kinds of ways.